Hello, fellows. Yes, I am your trainer again. I'm here again. Yes, this is the last module in this track. Yeah. Yeah, I know you'll be happy because we are moving to the end of this path, cybersecurity awareness path. How have you been? Have you been, going along with it? How has been the study experience? How has been the learning experience? you know it's been a wonderful experience since we started the Muji one. We learned about a lot around cybersecurity awareness. We've learned so much from the cyber security trends, cybersecurity threats, to introduction to social engineering, to passwords, and now we are on to malware. Yes, we are on to malware because malware is supposed to be a topic that you treat and continue to treat, because every day there are new malwares emerging every day, and that is why it is so important to be aware of at least the known ones, the current ones that are existing, so that at least when you begin to get along with the new ones that are emerging, you'll be able to, at least it won't be new to you, so to say, because you're already familiar with the existing ones. So that is why we'll be treating in this module malware. Yes, malware. You are welcome back again to this class, and I hope that you will enjoy this class, because we'll be talking about different variants of malware and their effects on networks and computers. Okay, so what is malware exactly? What exactly is malware? Malware is shorthand for malicious software. Shorthand, that is the short form of malicious software. Now, malware is a collective name for a number of malicious software variants, including viruses, ransomware, spyware. This software is intentionally designed to cause damages to a computer, server, clients, or computer network. They were intentionally designed. The design was so intentional that the purpose for which they were created always come to reality whenever they are launched or whenever they are used in an attack. So types of malware, we have the types of malware. I know, of course, in the previous modules, we've been able to touch, you know, almost all of these types. Yeah, almost all of this. It's even all of this. We've touched all of this, from cybersecurity trends and threats to, password attacks and, social engineering attacks, know, some of the malware that they use in those social and phishing attack and the rest. We've touched some of these things, but yes, we'll keep learning about them, so that the more we learn, the more we know about them, and it will be very easy to stop them or to prevent them from harming our systems or our networks. So we have viruses, Trojan, worms. By now, as I'm mentioning them, you should be having a picture in your head, because we talked about all of this. Rootkits, keyloggers, ransomware, hardware, spyware, of course. Yeah, so let's just move on. So we start with viruses. Now, a computer virus is a type of malicious code or program written to alter the way a computer operates. It alters the normal functioning of the computer in such a way that the computer begins to malfunction. Functions, the computer will drift away from the normal functioning to doing something else, and is designed to spread from one computer to another. Now, a virus operates by inserting or attaching itself to a legitimate program or document that supports macros in order to execute its codes. In the process, a virus has the potential to cause unexpected or damaging effects, such as harming the system software by corrupting or destroying data. It doesn't only destroy data, it can crash your system. There are viruses that affect the boot sector in such a way that your system will not boot again. Like, you will on it like this, it will not come up. It can crash your system. So they are very powerful, depending on the kind of virus it is and how they were being designed. Now, let's say that a virus has infected a file. Now, if the owner moves the file to any system, the virus has If a virus has infected a system, and from that system, a file from that system is moved or copied to another system, there is a tendency that that virus will spread to the system that that file is being copied to, and that is how some of us, get infected with our PCs, get infected with virus, because we love copying, movies from our friends, and we use flash drive. That's our sure plug. Just use flash drive and then just insert it. Before you know it, oh, the system begins to hang, begins to misbehave, and everything is just opening by themselves. You see some applications installing that you do not install, unwanted uh, programs, all those kind of stuff. So those, those kind of operations are always performed by a virus on a computer. Now, viruses can be classified into the following subtypes. We have the resident, we have the non-resident, the boot sector. I talked about the boot sector the other time. We have the multi-party partite. Now, the residents, when the virus is executed and becomes memory resident, that is, when the virus is executed, it goes to a memory and resides on a portion of your memory on the hard disk or your hard drive or hard disk. Now, it waits for some triggers, such as loading of another program. Then it then infects other programs and so on. So when it is resident on the memory like that, it waits until you load a program that it can jump on. So when you just open a program or you open a file, to just attach itself to the file, before you know it, it begin to spread to other programs on the computer. That is memory resident. And even as the way this one is now, the way this one is, there's no way that it will not infect your system, because you will always want to open a file, or always want to open a program. Now we have non-residents. When the virus is executed, it will search for files it can infect. That's non-resident. That one will not go and go and reside or stay on a memory on your system. It will begin to search, begin to traverse your system to see if there is a file it can infect it. Now, after infecting them, is run again, it will again. When the program is run again, it will first quit when the program stops, when we stop running. But when the program is, you initiate the running of the program again, it will then start again to look for other targets to infect. It means that it is not resting somewhere on your system. It is always looking for programs to attach itself to. That's non-resident. Now we have boot sector. Boot sector spreads via boot sectors. That is, there is an aspect of your system that coordinates the booting of your system and everything around, the booting, the processing of, preparing your system to work. Now, for example, if a user leaves and infects CD-ROM, CD-ROM, right? Now, while turning off a system, the next time the system boots up, the boot sector virus will activate and will not spread to the hard disk, which will then spread, you know, to drivers in, on the system. And when the pen drives, that is, there is a drive in the computer called pen drives. When the pen drives are moved, the cycle repeats. There are drives on the system that, as part of the component of your PC, that makes your PC function. If those drives are not there, of course your system can boot but might not function. There are some even drives that needs to help the booting of your system. So what this does is it attaches itself to one of these drives called pen drive, and then when that pen drive is moved, as booting is occurring, then the cycle of that infection will repeat itself. Before you know it, your system will not be able to boot again, because it will corrupt some of these drives that allows that, give the system the ability to boot. So we have multi-partite variant of virus. These viruses have several types of infection mechanism. They have several types of infection mechanisms, such as they can have both boot sector and resident type viruses, or even more. That's why they are called multipartites. They can combine like the three of the other variants in order to infect the system. Let's move. Then we have worms. Worms are basically harmful software which uses network or system vulnerabilities to spread. And what worm does is immediately worm gets to a PC or a device, it looks for a vulnerability in the system and take advantage of that loophole to spread across the system and from that system to another system on the network. They are typically part of other software such as rootkits. We talked about rootkits the other time, that rootkits can help create a backdoor onto your system where an intruder can come and come access get gain access to your system and then still go and come back again like that. Now, such as rootkits, they are typically part of software such as rootkits and are normally the entry point into the system. Viruses are where they are part of the rootkit. They are sometimes the entry point into that system by which the rootkit is going to, be. Let me remove this. By which the rootkit is going to get, its ground on a system. Now, they basically compromise the system locally or remotely and provide access to other malware. You know, they provide access to other malware. When they infect your system, they have that capability to provide access to other malwares, to get your system infected. Now, the computer worm is similar to a computer virus, but unlike a virus, it does not, excuse me, like a virus, it does not need to attach itself to an existing program. Now, the way virus work is it attached itself to an existing program, that is, a process that is running, and then create a new process and then begin to spread. But this malware called worm does not need to attach itself to a program. Instead, it can spread, copy itself from one computer to another without being activated by users. It's very dangerous. You can spread without being activated by users. You don't need to help the malware to work. It will work by itself. That's why it is called worms. Some worms can send themselves to everyone in your email address book. Some worms have that capability. They have that capacity to send themselves, like they will by themselves send themselves to other email addresses in on your address book, and then to everyone in their email address books, now making them capable of spreading to millions of computers within hours. Now, in the most extreme cases, worms have affected computer networks worldwide and drastically slowed down the internet. There have been a scenario where worms affect computers around the world and slow down the internet as big, as wide, as gigantic the internet is. As much as the internet cannot be brought down, worm has over time slowed down the effect of the internet. They are that powerful. We have rootkit. A rootkit is a clandestine computer program designed to provide access continued privileged access to a computer while actively hiding its presence. It can lie low, stay silent in your computer undetected. Rootkit has that ability. And originally, a rootkit was a collection of tools that enabled administrator level access to a computer or network. Now, what they do is when they infect your system, or a network, they enable administrative privilege. That is, they enable a high privilege. They can escalate, the privilege of a system and gain a admin enabled privilege to access the computer or the network, and then be able to perform an admin level, tasks or operation or activity. Now, root refers to the admin account. When we say root in a computer setting like this, we mean the admin account. An admin account is an account that has a total control over a system or a network. A total control, that is, it can delete, it can edit, it can modify, it can kick out, it can kick in, it can perform any kind of operation on a system. That's why it is an admin, to administer something, to manage something. So account on Unix or Linux system. Systems that are CLI inclined, command line interface inclined, like Linux systems. And then now kit now refers to the software component that implement the tool. Now what we are trying to do is break down the rootkit. The root is admin account on Unix system like Linux or MacBook. Then the kit is now the software that implements that tool. That is why it is rootkit. Today, rootkits are generally associated with malware, such as trojans, worms, viruses that concealed that conceal their existence and actions from users. That is, they hide their existence and action from users and other system processes. Now, a rootkit allows someone to maintain command and control over a computer without the computer user or owner knowing about it. When we say command and control, we are talking about taking a total control of a computer. So rootkit can allow an intruder to take a total control of a computer without the knowledge, without the consent or the knowledge of the owner of the computer. Once the rootkit has been installed, the controller of the rootkit has the ability to remotely execute files, has the ability to remotely execute files and change system configurations on the host machine. So this this malware variant is very, very powerful in such a way that the attacker or the hacker or the intruder does not need to be physically present with the system. Remotely from wherever he is, he can gain a total control to make modifications on configurations, change configuration settings, system configuration on that system. A rootkit on an infected computer can also access log files and spy on the legitimate computer owner's usage. You can spy on the usage and your activities. You can access log files to delete. Log files helps you to record activities that are going on in a computer, and then so that you can audit the activity and then be able to detect whatever that goes wrong. Now, this rootkit can give intruders ability to access the log file and then modify it, or use that log file to delete whatever their action is, so that you would not detect that there is a malicious activity going on. Then we have ransomware. Ransomware. You should be familiar with this. Ransomware. Ransomware is a form of malware that encrypts a victim's files. When we say encrypts, it means it hides the victim files using some kind of random numbers or values that we need a sort of key or keys to be able to decrypt and be able to reveal that hidden data. Now, the attacker then demands a ransom from the victim to restore access to the data upon payment. Users are shown instructions for how to pay a fee to get the description key. They are shown instructions. They will let you know where to pay the money to, how to go about the payment for you to get the decryption key for the encrypted data. Excuse me. The cost can range from a few $100s to thousands payable to cyber criminals in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is a cryptocurrency, and even right now they don't pay you. You don't pay by bank transfer. You pay with Bitcoin. You pay to a Bitcoin, a cryptocurrency address that cannot be traced. Those kind of addresses, they are not traceable. Those kind of address are not traceable. Yeah, so we have come to the end of this class. We'll be continuing with malware variant in the next class. I believe you've been able to learn one or two things in addition to the knowledge you already have with some of this variant of malware. So I will see you in the next class. Bye for now.